Hi, you likely know that our world is constantly changing. Some things crash, others build up, and all of those processes go constantly and everywhere. Look around. You're able to make up some stuff connecting different pieces, or maybe you're able to break down something. I hope it's not a vase. So, something like this. All of those processes are present in our life. And I want to say that actually the same processes go in world of particles, which actually build us. So what are those properties? What are those processes that go on in the tiny world of particles? Well, first things first, those processes are actually able to connect something, like here, or they may make something decay as it goes there, or they are able to make the thing of interaction between two particles as it goes here. So imagine, in which cases do particles decay? Well, a neutron is able to decay. Or in which cases do we have the interaction of particles? Well, imagine you take two magnets and you kind of place them closer to each other. What do they make? They are able to either attract or repel. So something goes on here. And this process is an interaction. Interestingly, those interactions, I would say, you're able to calculate the possibilities of those interactions. Yes, you can. Because of all of those processes actually go on with some certain probability. Kind of, you are either going to have a breakfast for the morning, or you either will break something or you won't. So, all of those do have some certain probability. And how are we able to count it? Well, there is some magical and outstanding thing. So let me show it for you. And surely I kept some magic for it as well. So here it is, the magic and astonishing formula. And it is named Veniciano formula. Yes, it is an outstanding formula which gives us a chance to calculate a probability of almost any interaction. Yes, almost any. Just imagine. You're able to calculate everything. Of course, you use some diagrams, how those particles interact, but isn't it a fun to calculate such colorful and astonishing things as those? I do think it is. So, what does this formula make? Well, it takes some values depending on which particles interact and turn them into some specific probabilities. So, how does it happen? We'll examine it now. But I want to say that it's really useful for counting possibilities and probabilities. So, please, I want to make you sure this formula is outstanding. So, we are moving to the math part. Look, and don't be afraid. So, um, first things first, we have some variables, better to say. First variable is gonna be minus s. What's it? Well, it's a center of mass. Basically, in case you have two particles which, some particles which crash with each other, so there will be some point at the center, and it is the center of mass. So interestingly, this center of mass point has some kind of a property, some kind of a value. And this value is actually 4e0 squared. So kind of it's a energy at the center of mass. So it's n minus s. And what is minus t then? Well, in case you have two particles, oh, I already showed it up here. What happens? It's a scattering property. When you have one particle which moves here, then something happens to it at this point. It kind of decays uh, due to some processes and scatters by some angle. So it goes here instead of going right there. You see? So it's scattered by this angle theta. So minus t is all about the scattering properties. And as well, I want to tell you about a specific function that we'll use. It is a gamma function. Gamma function is just a function of that generalizes the point of a factorial. You likely met with this sign, I believe, because well, what the factorial actually means, that for instance the factorial of 3 factorial is just 1 times 2 times 3. It is the factorial. But the gamma function generalizes the property so that you are able to count any factorial as 1 over 2 factorial. Yeah, you're able to do it using the gamma function, and here it is. So it's just a notation for you to know that there exists some gamma function like this kind, and you will be able to count any value of factorial using it. But don't worry, we'll do not use it to count specific values. So, what is the Veniciano formula actually? Uh, to tell it fairly, it is this property times specific variable g squared or coupling factor. So, what is the latter? It's an amplitude. Amplitude squared, when you make amplitude squared, you have a possibility of some event to happen. Maybe it's a scattering or decay, something of this kind. So you're able to define an amplitude as a function of two variables, minus s and minus t. It's super useful because of you may have a huge number of particles coming in, and you will be able to count the possibility of this event using just two single dependencies of minus s and minus t. So center of mass and their scattering properties. So you actually make the thing. You take the gamma function of minus s, so it will be the gamma function of the energy kind of at the center of mass, plus the scattering properties of some function of your collision or something. It will be here divided over the gamma function of minus s minus t. So kind of you'll uh, plus the factor of the energy at the center of mass frame plus the scattering properties, and take a gamma function, multiply it over the coupling constant. For every case it will be a specific constant, and you have a probability amplitude for calculating a probability of some event to happen. And imagine you're able to calculate everything in the world, how it will interact, how it will decay or have some specific properties. It's just outstanding. And one fact, just for you to know, that actually the amplitude and Veniciano formula is able to be compacted into a beta function, which has the same properties like here. You see, seems like absolutely the same thing, where x and y are minus s and minus t. So you're able to say that Veniciano formula is actually beta function of minus s and minus t. So it is an outstanding mathematical fact which allows you to calculate every possibility in the world. So, um, I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Oh, and by the way, I want to say that I recently published my own book, which is so simply tells about the facts of the quantum world so that you'll be able to understand and comprehend it easily. And frankly, there is not so much of math. There is no math actually inside. Um, Only the explanations of this stuff. Like, so, um, hope to see you soon. And the book will be linked down below. So, see ya. Bye.